here. I'm just trying to raise the volume here just a little bit.
Mhm.
There we go. Okay, I think I can hear you a little better. Good. No, man, it's just things are going great. I just got, getting the Florida show was a blast. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you
food
love
was good.
Florida?
What's that?
Do you like Florida?
Parts of it, yeah.
What
You know,
part was the Florida show in?
well, the Florida show was in Tampa, and there's I've never well, I've been to Tampa, but they moved the hotel to a newer part of Tampa, and the hotel is a much nicer hotel for an audio show than the old one was. Where it's located, there's not really much around,
Yeah.
but Janice went down with me, and so we went like a couple days early, and we hung out in St. Petersburg for a little bit. I've been to Clearwater, which is
Hmm.
really nice, like a beach area. It's really fun. They're kind of recovering a little bit right now because of the hurricane that went through there recently.
Hmm.
But yeah, we were at St. Petersburg this time, and we were like in the sort of the historic part of town,
Yeah.
uh, and it's near the pier, so a lot of fun stuff. We're like museum nerds and art gallery nerds, and there was like a ton of that stuff there.
Yeah.
So we like spent the first couple days just going through all this art gallery stuff and visiting these historic places and things, and we had a blast. Um, being former Disney employees, I mean, we've been down to Orlando more times than we can count,
Yeah.
and been to the park a few times. It's kind of like, we're done that. so,
Were you
so.
both Disney employees?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Both
Oh.
were. Yeah, that's where I met Janice. She
Oh wow.
used to be my project manager when I was in merchandising. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're like the couple from Up, like minus the death. So
Pretty
yeah.
much. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And hopefully the old age. Not quite there yet, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But no, that's where we met. At one point, we actually had my her cube was like right outside my office, so it's kind of like at when lunchtime rolled around, it was like, hey, you want to go to lunch? Yeah, let's go. All right, let's go. So
That's awesome.
it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool, and yeah, no, it was one of the best things I brought back for me from California. So there you have
Nice.
it.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, yeah, no, you doing all right? Everything going okay with you?
Yeah, everything's fine, man. Just a house full of gear. Just been it's been nuts. It's been absolutely nuts over the last little bit. Like I asked for one thing, and then
Hmm.
after that gets confirmed, like the Dali stuff, the speaker
Hmm.
that's right behind me,
Hmm.
a bunch of other stuff just came in, and I had to reorganize. So my storage locker is completely full of empty boxes, and then my walk-in closet is all floor standard boxes. So I had to move I
Mm.
had to move clothes out of the way to make way for empty boxes.
Oh,
So
for first world problems, man.
yeah, it's I'm not complaining. I'm still low key bragging, but
No, it's all good. You're entitled.
yeah,
It's wrong. It's not nothing
it's
wrong
a.
with that.
But
Ah.
I now I'm running into the problem of I don't know where to run speakers in. So
Mm.
like I normally run them in on my desk, but with floor standers, it's like, oh crap, where do I run the speakers in? So I'm running the dollies in right now. I have
Hmm.
IOTA sent over their integrated amplifier and power
Oh wow.
amplifier,
Oh wow.
like their older one, because there's a new one that's
Hmm.
out, but there's like a lag time for other reviewers reviewing it.
Hmm.
And so I asked, hey, just send me your older one because I've never heard your products. And they're like,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, sure. We send those over. So I'm running those in with that. And
Okay.
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Nice, nice. And
So
you got in touch with Nick about the SVS stuff that we were
yes,
talking about, right?
SVS, I believe that's going to happen with
Hmm.
the 3000 micros finally, which I'm pretty excited about.
Nice. I figured
Oh,
that when he brought that up actually at the show, it's like, yeah, he thought he brought the idea of doing like the nano, the smallest one. It's like,
yeah.
yeah, I mean that'd be probably perfect for your condo area because that might be just a nice, tight little setup that
Yeah.
and you have a lot of stuff to compare it to. So no, I thought that was a neat idea.
Yeah, that would be really fun, especially considering every theater package I've gotten so far was made for a big room.
Let's give you something that's made for you for a change.
Yeah, yeah, it would be like, hey, this is optimized for my space. It'll be like the first actual speaker package that's made for my room
Hmm.
that I don't own. You know?
Yeah.
Actually, I just sold my old Q Acoustics setup, the
Mm-hmm.
3030i package,
Mm-hmm.
just because it was never getting used. So I was just like, let me
Oh,
just get rid
okay.
of this one, and then and now there's new ones coming in. So
Mm.
yay!
It's good. It's good to be you.
It's not bad, you know. Like on the audio front, it's totally the best life ever.
There you go. There you go. Well,
Speaking of Q Acoustics, I don't know if you saw this, because well, actually, did you? Me have not, because there's an
hmm
embargo for tomorrow. Um,
ah, yes.
but there is a new subwoofer range coming out, so this is going to be
Ah,
released after that. So I believe it's on the 6th.
okay.
So there's a new 3 subwoofer range. It's the sub. I believe it's the. Actually, let me pull it up. It's
Yeah.
the QSUB range. So it's the sub 80, the 100, and the 120. So it's a 8-inch, a 10-inch, and a
Nice.
12-inch subwoofer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all they're all sealed,
Mm.
and I'm just looking at the prices. The 80 is $8.99, the 100's $10.49, and the 120 is $11.99.
How big are the drivers for each of them?
So it's 8, 10, and 12.
8, 10, and 12. Okay.
Yeah. They look pretty interesting. So it's I have the QB12, and that's, I believe, has a 200-watt amplifier in it, but the
Mm-hmm.
new ones, the 80's got the 8-inch has a 400, the 10-inch has a 500, and the 120's got a 600 amplifier in it.
Mm.
So, and they are. I'm just looking. It's so 36 hertz is the lowest on the 80,
Mm-hmm.
32 hertz on the 100, 28
Nice.
hertz on the 120. So
Mm-hmm.
they're made. I imagine for music and also like lifestyle home theater
Okay.
is what I figure, because they're
Mm-hmm.
not hitting subterranean depths or anything like that.
Mm.
But they
Yeah.
look interesting. They're Q acoustics, so they're beautiful looking,
Mm-hmm.
but they're like so compact-ish.
And
Given
it's got their
it's got
the
the
same sort of
rounded
design
corners, and
language that the
yeah,
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 yeah, nice,
it
really
looks nice.
polished.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and for the longest time in their range, I always thought that, like, they had the QB12, and then they have that slim line. This is the 3060
Mm-hmm.
that's made for like being able to tuck in corners, but they didn't have an expanded subwoofer range.
Mm-hmm.
Given how awesome all of their other speakers were, so
So it's
it
about
looks like
time.
they're finally coming out with some awesome subs. So
Good. Good. So there's
yeah,
never enough subwoofers out there. It's always fun to
no,
have some
there
more
never
options.
is. Never. It's a never enough sub.
Not for you drum and bass guys. No, no, no,
No,
no.
no, no. Although I have to
Uh-huh.
say, I was had the Bucart P300s in,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like the two-way. They have a passive
Yep.
radiator on the back,
Yeah, yeah.
and from all the people that reviewed them, I hope this isn't taken out of context. But whenever hi-fi people review them, they always talk about how neutral and balanced they are, and
Mm-hmm.
like they have them out 2 or 3 feet out away from the front wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I always just assumed that they would kind of sound flat and dead.
Mm-hmm.
And in my room, I can't put the speakers like far away from the wall. They're always like a foot away
Yeah,
from
yeah.
the wall.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much bass on that speaker. it's
Oh.
it's like that clip I sent you that I can't publish, but it is so ridiculous. Like I could,
uh
like, they sent their slim sub 10 along with
mm-hmm.
it,
Yeah.
and it's
Don't need
nice. Like,
it.
no, you do, like, for movies, like it
Yeah, yeah.
doesn't hit like the crazy depth, but
Mm-hmm.
the bass that it has, there's just so much of it, and
Mm.
it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's it's my new favorite speaker, like,
Uh,
by far.
Stephen Scharf, he reviewed the S400 Mark IIs
Or
actually for us. Yeah, a few months back, and back in December, I think. Yeah, he loved them. He thought they were. I think he bought the pair too. He was just like, these are fantastic. So
yeah,
yeah, and he's not the only one I've heard that from. So yeah, I'm not surprised. But it's funny about about the bass end of it. Yeah, because everyone talks about them being super neutral and everything, and everyone's room's different. So I
yeah.
mean, yeah, but
And I believe on the audiophile thing is like, if you want the best sound, everyone yanks their speakers really far out into the room or in open
hmm
space. But I
yeah.
mean, in the real world, like 90% of us aren't doing that.
Oh no, 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 no. I mean, and it's funny too because when you see there is how a reviewer has their speaker set up in a room,
Yeah,
and then when you see shots, people post online, when they say, "Oh, I bought my speakers," on forum stuff, you see how they're set up in the room. you know, eight
It's
out of 10 times they're like, flanking a TV and an entertainment center, and they're pushed right up against the wall,
yeah.
and it's like, that's
Yeah,
how
and
they're
they,
used.
and they always there's always a forum question of like, I don't know, I don't get it. They don't sound like they
Yeah.
mentioned in the review. It's like, dude, look, there's a cat sitting on your speaker.
Oh, totally.
It's
Yeah.
like,
It's
of
like,
course, it's not going to
well,
sound that good.
well, they're only like 5.5 feet apart, and they're pushed
Yeah,
right up against the wall. I mean, it's like, and they're towers. It's like,
yeah.
well, of course, I mean, so
But then
it
also, it's like depending on how you like the sound. Like I like that.
yeah, yeah.
Like when I read specifics, and sometimes like a manufacturer will send me, "Hey, for best results, pull it out this far," and then I'm immediately like, "I'm not doing that."
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I'm gonna judge every speaker based on one fixed position because that's all I have,
Hmm.
and that's gonna either make or break the speaker. And
Well, yeah. I mean, if you have a little bit of leeway to move things around here and there, that's great. But not everyone does, and I mean,
I don't.
well, in here, I'm kind of the same way. I have in this studio may look big, but I mean, there's stuff in place that I can't move, so it's like I'm limited to generally two positions of where I could put speakers in, and they're like within about a foot of each other.
Yeah,
Um, and that's it. And that's just the way it is. And yeah, it's gonna either make or break a speaker. I mean, I could I have so much flexibility in terms of just tweaking by position.
yeah,
Worst comes to worst, I've always got like the room correction I could use if I want to, but I
yeah.
try to avoid that if I can,
But you have
unless I'm
like a
integrating a
giant
sub.
house, right?
I wouldn't say it's not a giant house, but it's a house. Yeah, it's a fair sized house with a basement.
Was there, because your kids are older, is there ever a thought of just like repurposing one of your kids' rooms to
I
like
tried.
make a
I
hi-fi
tried that.
room?
I tried to fly this. Send that idea by Janice. She like, no, no, that's my room. You got the basement. You have your studio, your home theater. No, no, this is my room where I can do my stuff. And it's like, okay,
Do you
okay.
have
So,
a proper home theater room
oh
or?
yeah, yeah. Right next door to the studio, there's like It's not a big home theater. It's sort of small, but
Yeah.
smallish. But yeah, it's a proper home theater. There's a what is it? It's a 9 point. Right now, it's a 9 point. No, excuse me, 5.4.4.
Holy smokes.
So five bed channels, four subwoofers, and four overhead channels.
Oh, it's amazing, dude.
It works. It's actually really good. And I've had a bunch of different things in it right now. I just recently I had the Trinov
Oh, wow.
altitude processor in there because they just um, introduced the whole waveforming thing,
Yeah.
and I had done some. They sent me a thing because Robert Kozel had already done a full on thing with a review of the Trinov and the altitude before waveforming. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of doing a little follow up with actually using it, and they kind of walk me through setting it up and to see if it makes a difference.
Yeah.
And it's funny because all at CEDIA, all the installations you see with we heard with waveforming, there are like dozens of subwoofers. So like there's like at least 6 to 12 subs up front, like
Yeah.
up against the wall, and another 6 to 12 in back, and and they have this whole theory where it's kind of like the front set of subwoofers are, they call them the emitters, and then the rear set of the absorbers, and that's kind of how the whole waveforming thing works. I wanted to see if you then it sounds great in that thing, but I wanted to know, hey, what about someone with just like four subs, two front, two back?
Yeah.
That's the minimum setup to get waveforming to work. Does it work?
Mhm.
And it works. It works
Really?
actually really good. I got two sealed subs in front, two sealed in back, and roughly positioned as best as I could get, the same distance in from the sidewalls.
Yeah.
So they're almost all sort of facing each other in a square. And yeah, I mean, it's not perfect. I'm sure someone could set it up, tweak it better, but for my basement space, yeah, it makes a huge difference from like just having the typical four subs without the waveforming. It's noticeable. It
Nice.
really is. The
That's the
pressurization
dream,
was
man. That's
incredible.
the dream.
Yeah,
I
it's a
miss
shame I have to send it back. It's
I miss having a big house. That's my one thing. Just
yeah,
a proper
yeah.
house. Not even just to be able to put speaker boxes somewhere,
Not just for storage. Not
not
just
just
for
a story,
storage.
but just have like another room would be nice.
Yeah.
Like behind me I have my turntables, and I just wish I had a room for just
Hmm.
like my turntables
Hmm.
and like just for music, and
Yeah.
then a theater room or a living room with a TV. Like
Hmm.
that's my next big dream.
You
But
do you ever check out Michael Lavorgna's site, Twittering Machines?
no,
He's a nice guy, very audiophile. Does basically strictly two channel stuff.
yeah,
He was one of the guys that went on the Italy trip with us. He basically has this separate. Basically, it's a separate a detached structure they call the barn, which
yeah,
I think it is actually a repurposed barn, but
mhm.
that's where he does all his stereo listening and stuff. And he's he has it set up really nicely, and he's I think a bit of a graphic designer by nature, and so he's really sort of pretty what he's done with the inside of it, and so
Nice.
he takes great photographs. So that's if you ever check out his site, you could probably see some really
Okay,
nice photography he's done with some of the equipment he's got in, like higher end stuff, two
yeah,
channel, but still it's kind of a fun place. So
yeah.
yeah,
If house prices drop in Canada, that would be a
good luck.
because right now it's like
uh,
700,000 for a one bedroom. It's like, what are we doing?
oh
Like,
yeah,
just
yeah.
it's gonna be like a decade before I could buy something.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't. One of the things I don't miss about living in Canada. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. With never mind everything else going on or whatever. But I mean, yeah, it's
Hey
oh
man,
my
like
god.
the minute like if an opportunity arises, this I probably shouldn't say this on the, but if the
You can
opportunity
always edit
arises,
it out. It's fine.
if the opportunity arises where I could move to the States, I'm gone. I'll go immediately. Like even if it's just Jersey,
Oh
anywhere,
my
just
god.
I mean, it's easier to get products, but then also your house prices are like six hundred
Take
thousand
that,
dollars
Justin
less.
Trudeau.
Yeah, it's just yeah. I would leave in a heartbeat. I would leave in
Oh
a
my
heartbeat.
god. That's crazy.
So sorry to all my Canadians. It's unreasonable expensive here. Just
I feel you. I feel you, brother. I really do. I really do. I mean, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So if any audio manufacturers want to sponsor a guy, man, just hook a brother up.
Let's set up the send taps to the U.S. fund.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll
I
do.
will I will sell my soul and shill for you. I don't care. Like I'll say all the nice things. I'll
Oh my
just
god.
and I
Oh,
was actually born in England too. So if anyone from the UK want to
oh, there
ship
we
me
go.
over, yeah,
There we go.
I can do that too.
Oh, well,
I will shill for residency.
oh my god. Oh man. Oh well.
But
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
but Florida was good, I guess. Or
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Florida was good, and there was some great stuff there. I mean, it actually was. I gotta say, most of these things are typically high end stuff, but
Mhm.
there was actually pretty good, nice little assortment of sort of affordable things too. I mean,
Okay,
so there was a bit of everything. Um, I think probably one of the best affordable things, if I'm going to start with that end, would be Chesky Audios. They had I don't know if you've heard of David Chesky or whatever. Okay, he's been a long time. He owns actually HD Tracks. He started that download website HD Tracks, um, download high res files, and he's actually a record producer, and he had his own record label and stuff. So he's been around for ages, and he's a jazz musician. So
okay,
been around for a while, audiophile and all that good stuff. His 17-year-old son Luca was actually at the show, and Luca started his own company
oh,
called Chesky Audio, and he had this little speaker um, called the LC1, and so it's like a bookshelf size speaker. He had them on stands there, and it's two way with a pair of 8-inch woofers on the side. So maybe about like that big, not very big at all. It's
yeah,
500, 499 a piece each
really,
speaker. Yeah, and he had them in the room with just some Cambridge audio stuff, so not high end electronics or anything like that, just nice quality electronics.
Mhm.
The whole setup in the room, he said, topped out at 3 grand.
Yeah.
So for the electronics and the speakers, and it sounded phenomenally good. I mean,
Are they
really
passive
good.
radiators or are they act?
No, they're actually, I believe. Let me double check here. Da. Let's see. No, they're actual. They're not passive radios. I think they're actual. 8-inch woofers that are tied into the crossover, so not
Huh.
passive radiators. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, and the first thing that popped into my mind was like, I mean, how great they sounded with just stereo, no
Yeah.
sub, just stereo. But yeah, if you had 5 of those in a home theater setup, you
That would
know,
be amazing.
that would be amazing. That would be amazing. And so the kid's 17 years old and he's super bright and looks like he has a good head on his shoulders. And obviously, he's got the cred from his family name and stuff. So sounds like he's gonna be a busy boy with these speakers and the fun thing is that they're not like made out of MDF or wood or whatever.
Yeah.
The cabinets and the interior are all 3D printed, so
Oh.
it's all like a polymer enclosure, but it's the whole thing's 3D printed, and it's the drivers installed and the crossovers point to point. So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, it's really really ingenious actually.
17-year-old. We need more of that in this industry.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we do. Absolutely, we do. And it was just like it was really cool to see. It was really cool to see him. Um, but yeah, that was one of the really cool, inexpensive things. Geshelli Labs, they had, they're always fun, and they had their whole set of little custom headphone amplifiers and DACs, and their
Mhm.
stuff was always affordable, which is really cool. They were teasing what did they call it? A new preamp and pair of monoblock amps. The
Okay.
preamp is called the Giuseppe, which is named after um, the one of the founders. I think is his father, so
Okay.
named the Giuseppe preamp, and the amps are called Z Block, and
Okay.
basically they're you know mono amps, 250 watts a channel, Class AB.
Mhm.
But and I don't know how familiar you are with Geshelli, but their whole thing was when they started was like affordable headphone amps and DACs with pretty much almost any choice you'd want to have for like the enclosures. They did like different types of aluminum, plexi fronts and backs with which you can choose different colors, different finishes, and all this stuff. And the dad actually is a woodworker, so they started doing like really fine quality wood enclosures with
Oh,
like
nice.
dovetail joinery and stuff. Really pretty stuff. Um, so the amps and the preamp you could spec as well like that.
Mhm.
I don't know what the price. I don't remember what the price was on these things, but they weren't that expensive, and just really really cool to see. And they have tone control. The preamp has tone controls, so there you go. And actually, their headphone amps have tone controls too, so which is kind of
Nice.
nice. But yeah, that's the samples they had to show were running a pair of they're acoustic. Is it acoustic energy? Acoustic energy speakers from the UK.
Mhm.
Sounded great. Really
I
nice
want to hear
sounding
that
room.
brand. I always see them and they look beautiful. I
Hmm.
just have never.
I've heard the 500 series towers,
Yeah.
and they've anytime I've heard them, they've always been like wow. And they have a new speaker called the Corinium, which
Mhm.
is there. They had one there in British Racing Green, which was
Oh,
actually a beautiful looking color.
yeah.
And that was really nice too. So yeah, yeah, that was very cool. Um, let's see, trying to think what else was really neat at the show. Hmm, brand out of Norway called O Audio.
Okay.
Um, met the guys, very nice guys. I think they're looking for trying to set up U.S. distribution. So, but yeah, they basically have 3 speakers. They were launching their new three-way, and it was like a three-way tower. It's like just not that tall, modest-sized tower, not too big. I
Mhm.
think it's called the Frigg, Frigg.
Yeah.
Um, really nice sounding. Um, and then they also had the next step up was a speaker called the Icon 12, which is like just a little taller, but it's a horn-loaded speaker. So it had a compression driver and a big sort of square horn, and
Mhm.
then a big 12-inch driver. And that I love the sound. I mean, I love the Frig, but I love the sound of that Icon 12. They switched between the two, and they were
Mhm.
playing some stuff, and I was like, oh, and it
Any
doesn't.
idea what frig means to them?
I don't know what it means to them. I know what it means to me, and and I'm assuming they're not. That's not the intention. But yeah, no. I mean, I
Here,
don't
the
know.
frig with the shit, and then just
Yeah, yeah. Here's the Frig powered by the shit electronics, and yeah, no, that could make for an interesting
we just need an
interesting review.
f bomb audio, and then
Oh yeah, that's all
Yes.
we need. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Ah,
We could start that. Just
we could
yeah.
totally
F
start
bomb
that. F
audio.
bomb. That could be our line of merch. We could do like F bomb audio. Oh man. Um,
It just sends a sine tone through. That's
yeah,
all it does. Beep.
that's
Just
it.
yeah.
Yeah, just test
Yeah.
tone, and that's all it does. But yeah, these Icon 12s, they're probably the smoothest sounding horns speakers, like with a compression driver and a horn I've ever heard before.
Yeah.
Really, really nice. And yeah, I think the Frigs were how much were the Frigs?
They were
Let's see.
friggin' 500
Frig
bucks.
they weren't friggin' too expensive, but I mean they were I think they were at least 10 grand for the pair, and then you start getting a little higher up for the Icon 12. But I mean compared to some of the other stuff that was there, I mean it's actually not
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
There's some pretty crazy stuff there. Um, Trying to think what else was
Are
really
most
good.
of these shows predominantly high end then, or is it just that's the stuff to go see because you don't get to see it as
I
much?
think that's the stuff to go see. I mean, a lot of people enjoy going to these things because it gives them a chance to hear stuff that they would never otherwise, you know,
Mm.
either see or interface with at all. So
Yeah.
it's fun in that respect. And the turnout of the show was actually really good. Friday and Saturday especially were actually really busy, which was
Hmm.
nice. Um, but yeah, a lot of this stuff is like, but you have some crazy rooms. I mean, the MBL room with their omnidirectional, what do they call them, radial Strotter things. The omnidirectional mid and tweeter driver looks like a football on its end, and it's
Yeah.
I mean, that's $1 million room. Um,
Mm.
Same with Clarissa's room. A few other ones were just crazy money.
Yeah.
YG Acoustics, they had like their huge custom XV signatures, all aluminum, anodized aluminum speakers,
Hmm.
two enclosures each, like the main speaker and the base enclosure, and then powered by this bank of four Western Electric tube amps that are like the size of ugh, God, a small fridge. I mean,
Yeah.
it was crazy. I mean, you get a lot of that, but it's nice when you get into the not so crazy stuff because it's there if you look for it.
Yeah.
Um, oh, one thing I wanted to say was Focal had the Diva Utopias there, which
Oh,
you heard in
nice.
New York, and I
Yeah.
finally got a chance to hear them. And what did you think of them when you heard them in New
I
York?
like them. I think they're good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think uh they set them up in a normal like room, like it was untreated, it was just a big
hmm
loft space,
yeah,
and they sounded big, they sounded like nice. I did ask them if they're ever going to make a complimentary subwoofer because
hmm
they did need one
mm,
regardless of their size. It's just when it hits that lower depth, there's just not enough air being moved in them,
hmm
so I felt like they did need one, but that
hmm
was just that space though. So
probably.
like in a real world space, I felt like I needed more, but I
hmm
mean they went really loud and really low too. So
Mm.
that's
Mm. Yeah, I really liked what I heard at the show. They had them set up. I had a I have a little video on the website that where they walked me through it and stuff.
yeah,
But yeah, I thought they sounded great. And I
yeah,
mean, and I pardon me, Focal. I love you guys to death, and I think your speakers are the coolest things in the world, and I love your headphones. But the sound of
but
Focal speakers have never really kind of grabbed me.
oh,
I thought they're okay for the most part, but there's just something about them that just there's never really I've never really just say, oh my god, I need to have this. These were like, yeah, I
you
really
need to
like
hear
these.
the Evo X, the big ones that I heard.
hmm
You need to hear those
Okay.
because they sounded really, really good.
Hmm.
Uh, that's a horrible description. I,
No,
I'm sorry.
and
But
no.
like they don't I found that like everything just sounded great through them. They didn't
hmm
it didn't feel like they were colored in the same way that Sonos Faber was colored.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, like they sounded like a scaled up version of the Lumina 5s,
Right,
if that makes
right.
sense. It's just like
Yeah, yeah,
just really rich sounding and a nice
yeah.
deep bass, but the highs didn't murder my ears at all. It was just
Right, right.
really just good clean sound.
hmm No,
So,
and I get that. I mean, and I've heard some of the big Utopia speakers and a few other
yeah.
things before. Probably not in the best perfect spaces. They were like at a show and in the middle of a room, so
Yeah.
you get what you get. So that's we qualify that. I don't know
Yeah.
that I've actually heard them in a real proper setup before, so that could have a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
But these guys, for just being set up in the room the way they were, a very normal, room in a hotel setup, they were phenomenal. I just thought if I had like the disposable cash, I'd be like, I'd like a pair of these.
Yeah.
And they walked me through the app control, the how the room correction works if you want to use it. And yeah, there was a bass note in the room that they were exciting at one point, but
Hmm.
it wasn't that bad. But I mean, these things in that room went down pretty damn low. I mean,
Yeah.
you got some solid bass out of them.
Yeah.
Um, anytime I'll add a subwoofer to anything. I don't care if it needs it or not. But but
You know what I liked is I'm gonna butcher this, but the latency that they had, the lack of, because
hmm
they take
yeah,
the signal and then they process it and then they talk to each other
yeah,
before spitting it back out. I like
yeah.
that. I don't know what that's called, but
No, no, there's no delay basically.
yeah,
It's like it's instantaneous, and I didn't hear any sort of latency. I mean, they had it hooked up with the wire between the two to get the full 24-bit
yeah,
192 kilohertz communication stuff. But I I mean, I love active speakers. Always been
hmm
an active speaker fan, and just the way these are done is just is perfect. I mean, at least to me, the design aspect of them, the aesthetics are great,
hmm
um, and the name amplification and all the stuff, the built-in room correction, the super easy app control. It's
yeah.
slick. It's so slick, and the fact that the streaming's built in, you
The
don't need anything else. You just boom,
and
get
the
them,
finish is
plug
nice.
them in. Oh yeah, no, I
I
mean, I
like the
love that.
felt.
I love that felt. Yeah, I think it's very,
There's
very cool.
only one thing I don't like.
What's that?
It's like the glowing logo on the
Oh,
front. It's
yeah. You don't like the glowing logo on their headphones or whatever. So yeah, it's
yeah,
actually not. It's actually funny. You don't like
I
the.
don't get it. Like I know that yeah, it's your branding, but you could have just etched it onto the bottom base plate of the
Right.
speaker versus having a glowing logo on the
Can you
front.
turn off? Can you turn off the light? I bet you dollars to donuts. You could do it in the app.
I hope you could, but also do I need to look at your logo? Just it's already such a beautiful speaker. Get rid of your logo. Just put it somewhere where it's not
Ah,
in my line of sight. I don't need to
I
see
get it.
your giant logo.
I get it. I get it. But branding, right?
Yeah, I
It
know
is
I
it
know
is
it's
what it
on
is.
your Nike shoes, so yeah, I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know.
But yeah, no. Winner, I think for Focal. I think I really think that everyone has basically said, audiophiles aren't into active speakers. They're never going to make headway in the audiophile thing. The fact that a big name like Focal and Name has done this, I think you're going to, and it's basically it's eating into the B&O space,
Yeah.
and so the fact that they've done this, I think, is going to open the door for a lot of other big names to do the same sort of thing.
But and also all the audiophiles that are against this, they're all gonna die. So like
Oh yeah, yeah.
so like just get over it. Like there's a new gen coming. Well, what was that story? Were you there with me when they were? It was someone was telling us that like Elon Musk bought a pair or bought the Supremas from Sonus Faber and then decided to play video games on them.
I was not there. I was not there,
Sorry, I
but
heard
that
the
would not
story.
surprise me.
Yeah,
Oh
I heard
man,
this story that like he bought those and he was just I bought them for video games, and it was just like okay, well that's your demo.
there you go. There you go.
And
I hope they.
I don't know too many people that wouldn't be interested in active speakers. There's just so much easier, and you they're it's a bit more wife friendly because you don't have to have
Right,
the
right,
boxes in your living room. It's just the two speakers, and
right.
it's an easier sell to
If
your
you are
significant
if you
other.
are not the self-absorbed audiophile nerd that
Hmm.
you must have the separates. I must be able to pick my preamp, my amp that I think is the best, my
Yeah,
cables that are the best, my source that is the best. And I mean, if you're not that person, then but you don't want to sacrifice your sound, and okay, you have means.
yeah,
This is what you want. I
yeah.
mean, I would go for these in a heartbeat. If I
Or
wasn't putting a
any
kid through
active
college.
speaker.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, any active speaker. I'll gravitate towards.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's. I think we're going to see more of this stuff. I really, really do. So, and it's a good thing. It's a really
I
good
mean, I
thing.
come from DJ culture, so everyone had a pair of active monitors at one point. just because it was the easiest thing to connect to your
And
mixer.
it makes sense, and it makes total sense for that application too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
then for everything else, just like HDMI ARC from your TV to a pair of active speakers, you're
Speaking of
kind of done.
HDMI, speaking of HDMI ARC, that's kind of a nice little segue.
There's a new protocol, right?
There's a what? Yeah, but that's not what I was going for.
Okay.
There's
Sorry.
always going to be a new HDMI protocol. And it's anything to shoot the industry in the head, they'll do it.
Yeah.
So, Advanced Paris, we visited their room,
Ooh.
and just really nice, really nice setup in there with their big A12 integrated, like which Chris Eberly reviewed it for us. Really nice with the blue meters and the tubes, and there was also there was the My Connect 250, which was kind of the same thing but with a built-in CD player. Craig reviewed that one, which was great. But yeah, they had it in a room hooked up to a pair of the new PMC Prophecy 9s. Really pretty speakers, and the sound in there was
everything PMC.
Was very nice, very nice. Shout out to Jacqueline because she reps Advanced Paris, so good job.
I believe the A12 is coming my way at some point.
Ooh, yes. Yeah. I expect to see a very nice video of that. That's going to be fun.
You'll get one as well.
There we go. We love the follow-ups. Follow-ups are good. Follow-ups are very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was a really nice sounding room, and I met I believe it was Cedric, who was one of the
entertainer.
Not Cedric the Entertainer, no. Cedric, a French guy who works for Advanced Paris, who completely not. If you see a picture, you'll see a picture of Cedric on the Secrets coverage of this. Completely not Cedric the Entertainer.
Sorry.
Instead of a husky black fellow, he's a very skinny Frenchman. So, but super nice guy, and he was walking me through this stuff, and yeah, very bright, and it looks like they're going to be coming out with a bunch of new stuff too, so that'll be interesting. I think they'll have a few things, either at Munich or Expona or both.
Fun.
So that'll be a lot of fun. That was a great room. And then,
so what did HDMI ARC have to do with that?
So HDMI ARC is thank you. Completely missed that. Advanced Paris. One of the things I really like about them is that they have HDMI ARC in almost all their stuff, almost all their integrateds and preamps and stuff, which is that's the way to go. I mean, that's so many people. Everything revolves around the TV, and if more stuff needs to have HDMI ARC in it, whether we like it or not. It just makes the integration so much easier. And as a company, if you ever see, you'll see it when you see the back of the A12. The connectivity is like off the chain. I mean, they have so much flexibility with what you can connect, how you can set it up. The HDMI ARC, they have like crossover. They have a subwoofer output with an adjustable crossover.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's Cedric and the guys over at Advanced Paris. I mean, they think this stuff out.
Do you
really
know
well.
if they have a fixed mode or home theater bypass in it?
I imagine it does. Off the top of my head, I don't know, but I believe I would expect that it would.
Those are my three things that I think going forward I'm going to judge all amplifiers off of is tone controls, home theater bypass, and the HDMI ARC. If you don't have one of those three, or if you have all three, you're all good in my books. But if you don't have one of them, it's just like there's the what hi-fi star. That's just one down.
We'll call it the tap scale.
Yeah, the tap scale is just one down.
This is a 2 on the tap scale. 2 out of 3 on the tap scale.
Like you could sound great, but if you don't have one of those, you're
dead to me.
You're a 2-star product.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that actually be fun to integrate the tap scale. It's like this.
I'm going to do that.
The tap scale.
Yeah.
I'm going to
I'll start doing it. I'm sure that'll go over well in the industry.
Yeah. You'd be surprised. I mean, I'm sure someone will pick it up and say, "Oh yeah, tap scale with 3 out of 3 on the tap scale." It's like,
I used to have. I actually lost a job because of this. I had a blog on Tumblr. It was called The Predator Rating. So it's not what you think. So.
I hope not.
We had a lot of my ex-wife's friends were film nerds, and so they would we'd all go out to go watch a movie,
right?
And it would be some bullshit arts movie or something. I remember the
Been to
first
enough
one.
of those. Yeah, yeah.
It was called The Master. You ever see that movie? It was about Scientology. It
No,
was
no, no.
it was overbearingly long. It was too artsy. Nothing was really happening. But like the
Kind of
movie,
like Scientology.
yeah, but like the movie just felt like it ended like
Hmm
60 times. Like there was a scene where like someone was running away and it felt like the movie was over and then it just kept going and it kept and I was losing my mind in the movie. I was just like, what the and then so we went to a bar after and they were all talking about it and I was just losing it. I was like, I can't
This is.
for a
I'm
movie
never gonna get this time back.
yeah, I'm never gonna get this time back. Just like people watching this podcast, and,
Thank you,
but
thank you, 3 people that watch it. We appreciate it.
but I need a movie with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Like
Yeah,
like there's a conflict, a climax, and then
yeah.
like an ending.
Ending and all
And
that
then I
jazz. Yeah.
said, like Predator. It's good. It's like a movie. It's like alien comes to Earth, hunts people for sport. Schwarzenegger fights back, kills him. Movie over. Like it's a
Right.
great movie. That's a good movie. And
Yep.
they gave me shit after. It was like you're comparing like Martin Scorsese or whatever to Predator. I'm like, yeah, it's a better movie. Like I can watch it over and over again. Right?
That's right. That's right.
I can't watch half these movies again ever. And so I started a blog on Tumblr called The Predator Rating, where it's like, hey, this is pretty good, but it's no Predator. If Predator is the high watermark, how does this other movie do?
You have
And
to
my reviews
compare
were
things.
atrocious. Like I think I did was it A Fault in Our Stars? You ever see that? Or
No, but I've heard of it. I've heard of it.
they both have cancer.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
he has
yeah,
cancer and she gets cancer, and then they both die. And
yeah.
but and my review was he dies first. That's just
Dies first.
but it was an offensive blog, and
Mhm.
yeah, I lost a job because of it. But yeah.
Oh.
I worked for a movie company, and then they found out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
and they complained to HR, just like he's got this sexist, misogynistic, offensive blog. Like he's
oh,
our team leader. We have to get rid of this guy. Yeah,
that could have been probably planned a little better.
yeah, probably. I just thought no one would find out, but I think I had a few, and then I told
Oh
someone, and
no,
then
gone are those days, my friend.
yeah.
Gone are those
I
days.
feel like I should bring it back though, maybe for a side channel, but I don't know if the Predator rating would get
I think
flagged or not.
if you do that, just come up with some like you know AKA or anonymous thing or whatever, so that way you know. Good Lord. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't want to get fired from secrets too. Who knows?
Oh
But
no, no, don't worry
yeah,
about that. Don't worry about that. But yeah, no, that's funny.
we
Um,
should do movie reviews on here too, maybe.
we could. There's no reason why we couldn't. Movie reviews,
Did
music
you ever
reviews.
watch Substance? Now that it's
I have not watched Substance. I need to
on
watch it.
your theater, you should watch that movie.
I need to watch it. I really do. And it's just with everything going on with Florida, plumbing leaks in my basement. It's
That's
just
yeah.
nonsense. So, but no, I'll get to it. I promise. I will do that. I will do
It's a
that.
good movie. I saw that from the Oscars, and I saw Anora as well.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't see Anora. I don't know.
Anora it's okay. You have to get past the first half hour, 40 minutes of it's basically porn.
I just heard it was
It's
like an extended sex scene for the first
yeah,
40 minutes or whatever.
it's like I was watching it. I was working, and then I was like, "What is this? Like this is nominated?" I was like, it's like I mean, I don't mind. It's like there's naked people in it. It's great,
Hmm
but like, I was like, "What is this? Like, am I what?" And then it actually got good.
Mm.
Like it got good after
That we
the
got
beginning
the
part.
sort of gratuitous sex out of the way.
Yeah,
So
but I feel like maybe it got good, maybe just by right of
the
within all
beginning,
that sex, there was character development as well. So you
okay.
kind of buy into these people maybe a little bit, but
Hmm.
like the back half of the movie was really good.
Okay.
But
Interesting way to set up character development, but whatever.
yeah, I don't know. I'm justifying it, but like the back
Yeah.
half was good. The first half was just nudity. You know?
Yeah.
Whereas
Whatever.
in Substance, there's rampant nudity for a little bit, but
Hmm
like it makes more sense, you know.
Okay, it's more sort of integrated into the film or whatever.
Well,
Yeah,
because that movie, it's more about, I guess, Hollywood and the nature of, uh,
sort
like
of the how things get done
beauty
there.
standard for
Right.
like an aging actress, you know, and
Yeah.
how the desire is like, hey, you're replaceable by a younger, prettier version of you,
Yeah.
and so in that context, it made a bit more sense, you
hmm
know, because they played that up and it's stylistically done better, you know,
hmm
and all
I
that
get
stuff,
that.
you know.
I get that.
Anora is shot really well though. That's one thing I like, the way it looks like on in. I don't know how to describe the cinematography for it.
Right. Right. Right.
It looks gorgeous. Like I like the way it looks.
Hmm.
So
All right. All
I
right.
didn't see any of the other movies though.
I haven't seen any of the other movies either. I mean, I
There's
think
the one
they're
movie we're probably not going to talk about, but yeah, I'm not going to watch that one.
okay.
The, you
If it
know,
wasn't Godzilla minus one, I didn't watch it. So it's
yeah,
like
that wasn't even remotely nominated, right?
it's too bad. That was awesome.
That was
It,
wonderful.
I loved. I've seen that movie like I think a fistful of times already. Both the regular and the black and white version. It's like
Yeah,
it's great.
yeah, it
Great,
was
great
the
movie.
best Godzilla movie.
Oh, by
Yeah,
far, absolutely, absolutely. And I love the other mindless Godzilla movies and everything. You know, it's great. But
the
yeah,
American ones, like
you
once
know,
it
they're
got to like King of Monsters, I was like, what am I doing? What am I
yeah,
watching? Like,
it's just stuff to make your subwoofer go boom and all that jazz and
yeah,
whatever the effects and everything. It's great demo material. But you know, I used to love watching the original Godzillas when I was a kid. It like you know it'd be the Sunday B movie thing, and they'd be
yeah,
playing all the old Godzilla movies, and it's like this is great. But
but
this was kind of a nice
the,
part throwback to that, but part like actual real movie, and the
mhm.
character development in minus one was
Oh my god,
fantastic. Oh
it's
yeah,
phenomenal. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, it was really really
That's
good.
the one thing, is because the other ones are like monster movies with
Oh yeah,
humans for some reason,
yeah.
and but this one's an actual story about tragedy and like, you know,
hmm
and
Yeah.
yeah, minus one was awesome. I
hmm
could watch that all day.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Ditto, ditto. It was great. It was great. Okay, well, back to the Florida show.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So let me get back to that.
Oh, one thing.
Oh
Sorry,
yeah, yeah,
as
yeah.
an
No, no,
aside
go
too.
ahead.
When you do go to Florida, do you ever like stop at Checkers just for fun, or do
Checkers.
you ever go to Checkers? They don't have it here, but it's like I don't know, the bargain heralds of fast food. It's like
Ah,
you get a cheeseburger
Bargain
for like
Barrels of
50
fast food.
cents and like
No, 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 no. I thought you were going to ask me if I went to like a Bucky's or something, which is like you know
oh, I want
another.
to try Bucky's. I heard that's
Yeah,
is a gas station and
yeah. It's like a
yeah,
gas station slash emporium of food and
yeah.
products and stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, no, no. We haven't gone to a Bucky's yet, but I'm familiar with those. I'm not familiar with Checkers, so couldn't answer that for you. But yeah, yeah.
It feels like the worst fast food possible
Which is probably
for
why we haven't been there.
but it's so cheap.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
It's like
yeah.
Torchy's in Austin. It's like there's like it's
Uh,
fast food Mexican. It's
you're
so
talking Torchy's Tacos?
yeah. Oh,
Oh,
it's
I
so
love
good.
Torchy's Tacos. We have one like a 20-minute drive from us here. It's Janice and I love it. We go
I'm
there like
staying
once.
over. Just
Come on down. We go there once a month. We grab like tacos, chips and salsa, and some big ass margaritas, and they're fantastic.
yeah, they have one in
Absolutely
the
fantastic.
Austin airport, and
Oh,
it's
really?
just yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
find a reason to go to Texas. Okay, but yeah, no, Torchy's is great.
I have
Torchy's
like
great.
10 reasons why I want to go to Texas. This is,
You may end up moving there for all we know.
I mean, you have Rogan's Club is there. There's Kill
Mhm.
Tony's film there, so there's two.
There you
Um,
go. There
it's
you go.
nice weather.
hmm And
It's,
we got
it's
I think with at least at least two or three of our reviewers live down there. I mean, Jim Milton lives in Abilene. Um, I think is it Mel Martin in San Antonio, and actually, if, Clemens just moved, so he's moving to Sacramento. He used to live in Texas, so.
oh
But yeah,
wow.
at least two guys we know
Wait, he's leaving
we review
Texas
for
to
us.
go to California?
Yeah, yeah, he engineer for his work. He's an
Oh,
engineer,
okay.
so he got hired by an engineering company in California.
Okay.
Whatever.
Mm.
But I couldn't wait to leave California fast enough. But that's a different story. Um, but yeah, anyway, back to Florida. We mentioned about PMC before. They had those beautiful um, Prophecy Nines. Finally had a chance to listen to their big. They have their big high end. They call them what the Fact Fenestria. They're the top end speaker, the
Yeah.
big thing that looks like it's got this sort of Cyclops kind of um, dome mid-range and a tweeter in the middle of it.
Yeah.
It's a really cool looking speaker. But I've heard them before, but I've never heard them in like a proper room, I think.
Hmm.
And here, actually, I got a good sense of what these things could do. They sounded great in here. I mean, it was like beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And it was backed by all this high-end esoteric brand equipment
Hmm.
and really really nice stuff. And that was just like a killer sounding room. And I thought it was one of the better high dollar sounding rooms out at the show.
Yeah, there's something about PMC. I don't know if it's, you know how you just sometimes have a natural bias towards something.
Professional
Uh,
monitor company. There you
yeah,
go. I mean, that's
it's
they cut their teeth in recording studios.
so their 2.2 monitor.
Hmm.
That's the one that I've always wanted. I think it's like $6,000. So,
Mm.
but it's their like when I saw that studio monitor, and I believe there's a drum and bass producer called Spy. I believe he had a pair of those at one
Hmm.
point, and I saw them, and they just looked beautifully industrial. Horrible
Hmm.
description, but they just looked gorgeous, and I was like, I want those.
Yeah.
Just the visually, I've never heard them,
Hmm.
but just yeah, I've
Yeah.
always just had an affinity for their products.
PMC's made some great stuff. I mean, and they had a bunch of their products there, like it's the Prophecy, but and the Finestria, but they had some of the oh geez, I forget the name of them, but they're basically consumer versions of their big pro monitors. I mean,
Hmm.
they had a gorgeous pair of them in like a walnut finish at the show.
Wow.
It was a static display, so they weren't playing, but they were. I mean, big things, but they were on these stands and had this huge 12-inch driver in it, and then the dome mid range and the tweeter and stuff, and it was just
Yeah.
like, oh, I would like. I mean, I would kill for a pair of those. I mean, they're just
Oh yeah.
what I'm sure they could do in a room would be like amazing. And but yeah, PMC is always them and another yeah, ATC is another English brand
Hmm.
that's studio based and stuff. Their stuff's great too. So yeah, anytime. I think I'm supposed to be getting a pair of ATC
Of course
SCM
you are.
50.
I can't
Good.
talk anymore.
It's
I
good
can't
to be
talk.
me.
I
No,
can't. I can't talk anymore.
no. But I'm supposed to be getting a pair of their stand-mounted monitors, and I think they're going to send me a pair of matching subs to go with them. So
Oh, nice.
that'll be a fun setup. That'll be a fun subset pair to check
Yeah.
out. So that'll be coming soon. Trying to think what else was good. Uh, Acora Acoustics, which is actually probably close to you. It's based in Etobicoke, I think, or
Really?
Mrs. or maybe
Oh, are they
Acora.
like they're
The,
like
the
slabs of granite?
right, the
Those?
Granite
Yeah.
speaker maker company. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. They were there, and then like in a big way. They had their big top end uh, VRS reference speaker, which was like this crazy colored granite, which was, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it was really neat looking. But they just released a smaller line, or a more approachable line, that's not granite but marble. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they had a pair of their bookshelves in there, and they also had a pair of like a three-way tower.
Mm-hmm.
MRC, I think they're called, the MRC1 and MRC2. Nice sounding speakers. I mean, whether you're into speakers made of stone or granite or marble or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, they do it for the rigidity of the cabinet, but whatever it's there for, it works. I mean, they sounded really nice at the show.
I
They were
heard
good.
them, or I saw them at Audio Excellence in
Hmm.
Canada,
Hmm.
because they only do super high end products, and
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
saw a whole range of the Acora in there.
Mm,
And they look amazing,
mm. Yeah. And
and you
they
could
said
chop your vegetables on them.
it's right. You're in a rush for dinner. You just like put them on a built-in cutting board, or you could roll like dough out on them because the marble will keep things cold, right?
Hey,
So
maybe that's a missed opportunity for them. Like if they
yeah,
made a kitchen island with speakers in it.
Uh, that could be something. I mean, like a granite or
I,
marble kitchen island thing with like integrated speakers.
I'm saying I'm already a speaker designer for
Val,
my
Jeff, if
goal.
you're listening, it's a new product thing for you here.
Please consult. I'm already a visionary because the Gold 100 is
Mhm.
technically my idea. I'm just saying the from Honor Audio. So I
You know,
feel like they watched it. I feel like they watched it. They just made the goal
I
because of
bet you
that.
they have. They won't admit it, and they're probably watching it through like a VPN or something, so they can't be tracked. But I
Mhm.
bet you they have. I bet you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Bet you're right.
So Cora, if
Hmm.
you want to go Kitchen Island, your boy, just talk to me. I could walk you through.
Taps is in Oakville, so just very very close, very easy to get to.
Yeah. Think about that at
Oh
the
man.
home show. You have like a chef cooking, and then it's just
Mm.
like
Yeah, yeah. You're just pumping
bass
out like
music
some
playing.
serious music, like
Yeah, yeah.
get all that aggression out while you're chopping or whatever. You know, like smacking some, croissant dough or whatever. You're rolling it out, like, kneading some bread. You're like slapping it against the against the.
And get like a teppanyaki chef in there, and then, and
Yes, yeah,
then
yeah, yeah,
teppanyaki and dubstep, and then you just
yeah. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. You see, everyone says the audio community needs to think outside the box, and here we are giving these ideas for free.
yeah. I threw out. I don't know if Jason jumped on it yet, but like we have the sound treatment center, the pop
Hmm.
up center. We have that one.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we did the AV receiver. Why is it
Right, a
smaller?
little
And then
teeny AV
Anthem
receiver.
ripped that
Yep.
off. Yeah. So, I mean, sorry,
See, we
borrowed the
are
idea.
ahead of the curve.
We are
We are
Kitchen Island speaker from Acora.
we are the tastemakers of the audiophile community.
You
That's
know what I'm
us.
gonna do is I'm gonna mock it up
Do it.
and just put it over, and
We said they made. We said they made.
I'll even put the Acora logo on it just so
Oh,
you'll
do.
have the whole thing.
Oh, the lawsuit won't be one of. No, it'll be fine. No, no, no. I'm just kidding.
Well, if
But
they
no,
make money off of it, it's
why
just.
the hell not?
And you know what? Of the 100 people that watch, if you would like to see Acora explore this idea,
Hmm.
leave a comment down below.
Yeah, do
Yeah,
it. Do it. Good sound, good culinary application.
yeah.
It could go together very well. Not
Fun with
bad.
Photoshop. That's what's
Yep.
gonna happen next.
Genius. Genius. Oh man.
I feel like we should
Oh.
have a think tank of just this stuff. It just.
Hmm. We should. We
Mhm.
should. This is this we could it could be like an adaptation of this format. It would be like, our the secrets tank or whatever,
Yeah,
the secrets mind lab.
yeah,
We come up with this sort of stuff. I don't know. Whatever. We can work on that.
yeah. The seriously, we're not high lab. We're just.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. There
Okay,
you go. Now that's another segue. That's another segue. There
you got high
was
in Florida?
no, but I heard something that made me think this is what stuff would sound like if I was stoned.
Oh,
It was there's another audiophile YouTuber called Audiophile Junkie. His name is Jason Messina.
mhm,
Super nice guy, really fun dude. Knows his stuff. You may see him at audio shows because he wears these crazy rhinestone cowboy hats and he's going around with his video thing,
mhm,
videoing stuff and like doing running commentary. That's his sort of shtick when he
mhm,
goes to the show. But super nice guy. Um, he I guess well he was kind of involved a little bit at the show with two rooms.
mhm.
um One of them was an electrostatic speaker room from a brand called Popori. And the fun thing is there's this what's the best way to explain this. There's this component called the Bach, BACCH, I think it is. And basically, what it does is it's part of a system where you can hook it up basically to any sort of two-channel system, and there's like a camera that comes with it, so almost like a video chat camera or whatever, or like a Sony Eye or some of the stuff that Microsoft has for their Xbox for like gaming and stuff.
Mhm.
And basically, what it does is you sit in the sweet spot or your listening position. You put a pair of these little ear IEMs in your ears, and
Mhm.
it takes measurements of your inside your ear, basically, so it gets a sense of what your hearing's like.
Yeah.
Once that's done, it takes all that stuff and it processes the music so that it creates almost like it's like if you were listening to a binaural recording over headphones, but over speakers. And
Mhm.
so it's like it basically you're getting almost a surround effect from just two speakers. And
Oh.
it works really good. I mean, can work with most speakers, but it works really well with like electrostatic speakers just because of the nature of the design.
Okay.
So they had these big potpourri electrostatic speakers, which actually had bass. Which electrostatic speakers are notorious for not having bass. These actually generated some serious bass.
Hmm.
Um, and so I sat in there, and they took the measurements of my ears, played some music and some demo tracks and stuff, and it was like, whoa. I mean, it was a really convincing effect, and I've heard the Bach before at a previous show where the creator, who's a professor and an engineer, I think at Princeton University. His name is Dr. Edward Shurieri. I keep screwing up his name, but he did a demo for me years ago, and it was really impressive. We played like Dark Side of the Moon,
Hmm.
and through the system he had, and it was like, I swear this is what someone who was stoned must have thought they were hearing when they played Dark Side of the Moon back in the '70s when it first came out, because it was
Yeah.
like, I mean, stuff was everywhere, and but it was very precise. It wasn't like fuzzy surround, and same thing with the Purpori demo. It wasn't like fuzzy kind of just expanded sound. I mean, very specific audio cues coming to your sides and behind you and
Oh.
stuff using this tech. I mean, it's really impressive. And the camera basically, besides taking the measurements of the ears, the camera basically is a head tracking thing, so it gets a sense of where you are. So as you move, it adjusts um,
Oh.
the spatial image of the audio, so that way it goes with you. Um, it's really impressive stuff. I mean, it's not cheap,
Hmm.
but they had the demo in this Purpori room, but then he also had a desktop based demo that uses software and basically a pair of desktop speakers on a computer with a subwoofer.
Hmm.
Same effect, and it was really really impressive. I mean, very very cool. And if it's I I've never heard a surround effect from just a pair of speakers in the sub sound that good before. I mean, I've
Huh.
heard binaural recordings, and those can sound really nice over
Hmm.
headphones. Never heard something that convincing out of two speakers. It was pretty wild.
Cool.
Um, and it's hopefully. I mean, I know Dr. Chuyuri's been working on this stuff for years, and I hope someday it gets. I don't know if there's a way to integrate it with like PlayStations or Xboxes that have that the camera built in and stuff, and that sort of thing. But it could be pretty
You know what they
amazing if
should do? They should put that in the movie theaters
they
for
should.
when you have your VIP booth,
Hmm.
sort of thing. Because I know they have like pods,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then just integrate that. So then, if you're moving around or something,
That could be
or
really
a
cool.
drive-in movie theaters, and could be a better
If
application
if
for
they
it.
could find some way to not just to lock on to for the camera and the processing to lock onto more than just one person, like a say we have
Yeah.
four seats in our movie theater, in a row. If it could lock onto each person in the four seats and give them that same experience,
Mhm.
that would be like amazing. And if they
Yeah.
could do that on a bigger scale somehow, I figure that's got to be able to, that tech for that has got to be able to come. If it's not here yet, it should be coming soon. I
I
mean,
wonder if they could also do that with. Do you ever hear of like targeted sound? Um, where like there's application for it for also media, but I think military too, where
hmm
if you were to walk into a certain location, they could pinpoint sound directly at you in this. So like
yeah,
you
it's
would
like
hear it.
beamforming basically. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'm familiar with that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if they could do it for that too. Like, so if you were, for if you're walking by a billboard, for example, they could
hmm
do that to you, but then you'd get proper sound somehow.
I don't see why they couldn't. I mean, beamforming is how like the big, how Bang& and Olufsen, their big Bayo Lab 90 speakers, they
Yeah.
use beamforming with all the drivers, so you're able to steer the sound to either one specific point, kind of no matter where you are.
Hmm.
Um, well, who was it? Lexicon had
You have to
their.
hear those, by the way. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
I have. I've heard them.
Oh,
I heard them at a
so good.
CES years
Oh
ago.
my
Yeah, they're
god.
really good. Lexicon had this thing at a CES years ago. It's called the SL1. It was basically a speaker that almost looked like a giant hourglass, and it had all
Mhm.
these drivers in it. And that thing, they were able during the demo, the engineer basically had his iPad, and he basically basically steered the sound to each one of us sitting in like this big L-shaped couch. So we
That's
all
awesome.
at each point, each time, each one of us got the perfect sound, and it was uncanny. He was just able to click the button, poof, me, poof, Piero, poof, Cynthia, and it's like it was wild. It was really wild. That speaker, it never existed. It never came to market. It was like a for a while it looked like it was coming out, and they showed the prototype, and I'd heard and Harman was saying they were going to release it. They were going to release it. Then it disappeared, and it never came to
Then
be.
I wonder, since we're full of ideas, I wonder if he could do this as an add-on box to existing systems. So if I had,
The Bach is available as that's how it's sold. It's sold as a separate box that you could add to any two channel system.
oh,
So
okay,
yeah,
there, yeah.
it's just
So
not cheap. I mean, you can go on. I think I forget if it's 20 or 30 grand for the
oh,
box and everything.
okay.
So it's not inexpensive, but
He needs to partner with a giant man like Yamaha or something like that,
probably probably, but
and they
he's
could give it some insane name.
that'd be nice. Yeah. But yeah, he's been Chuyeri's been doing this research for years, and it was interesting how Jason was kind of, I guess they're friends or whatever, so he was kind of using his kind of influencer status to bring people in to kind of
Mhm.
listen to the systems and check it out and bring attention to it. And no, it was great. And actually, I should probably have one of these days. We should probably have Jason on the show. You get a kick out of him.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
a great guy. You know, he's had me on one of his. He actually had me on his podcast
Oh, I saw that.
pre
Yeah,
Florida. So yeah,
yeah.
we should probably have him on because he's a great guest.
Mhm.
And he knows a ton of people, and he's just like he really bright guy, really
Okay.
bright guy, and he's funny. so it's always that's always good.
There
Um,
isn't a bad person in this industry. As I noticed, everyone's kind of
no, there
awesome.
isn't actually. I have not thankfully encountered. I've heard of bad people in the industry, but I thankfully have never encountered them.
Yeah.
So yeah. But no, it's full of fun, interesting, curious people, and
Hmm.
that's always cool. It's like I kind of equate um, the people we meet in audio is to like some of the creative folks I used to work with back in my bad old Disney days. I mean, everyone's got you have to be kind of obsessive to
Yeah.
be in this sort of hobby,
Yeah.
and and like creative people, you tend to be kind of obsessive about things, and
Hmm.
you know, and that's sort of reflected in your personality. So yeah, I think there's a lot of that in here too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think what else. Oh, yeah. Where is it here? There was the oh, yes. Mexican audio company Margulies. They've been around for about actually they just celebrated their 90th birthday. They've been around for
Oh,
forever.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, really cool company. Julian Margulies is the current I think his great grandfather I think started the company, but he's the current sort of head of it. They had some really cool speakers, and they make tube amps and stuff, really neat tube amps, and their speakers that were really cool. But the thing that kind of surprised me was they actually had the prototype of their first headphone. They've never made headphones before,
Cool.
so they had a prototype of their first planar magnetic headphone, and then there was a matching headphone amp slash streamer, which was a tube headphone amp and streamer.
Hmm.
Um, and wow, surprise! This was great. And I don't know what I was expecting
Yeah.
when I saw them and stuff. I was going to put them on, try them out. I was like, they're going to sound like Hi-Fi Man or whatever other planar magnetic headphones Meze out there.
Hmm.
These things had their own sound that was just wild. I mean, just there was an aliveness to them that I don't associate with planar magnetic headphones.
Okay.
Um, really nice. They were kind of like my HE1000s, my Hi-Fi Man HE1000s, but like on steroids. I mean, the soundstage was so big. The sound quality was like had that sort of richness to it
Hmm.
that you get with you mentioned Sonus Faber speakers before, how the sound is colored and it's got that
Yeah.
sort of richness to it, but it doesn't the highs don't kill your ears or whatever.
Hmm.
Similar sort of thing in these headphones. It's really, I mean, it just I put them on and I was like, oh wow,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to take them off. I mean, they were comfortable, and Margulies, they're big on using wood, um, fine woods in their speakers and their amps and stuff, and so the ear cups were made out of a nice wood and stuff. But just very cool, very cool setup. And again, that was a prototype, and I think they're close to production on them too, which should be interesting. So yeah,
Cool.
those were a nice little surprise. I really liked those. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. Um, Otherwise, I mean, there was a bunch of other high dollar systems there. I'm trying to think what else. If there was that Onerios speaker was there from that I went to New York to see at the power station.
Hmm.
And that I think you've seen pictures of it. I mean, it's a really cool looking speaker, and
Yeah.
in the room they had it in, it sounded actually really nice too. Although the funny thing was, uh, they there was a soffit basically in that room, and they were just
What's a
playing
soffit?
vinyl. A soffit's basically like a little okay, you have your ceiling, and sometimes when there's duct work that's like below the level of the ceiling, they'll cover it up with drywall or whatever.
Mm,
So
okay.
it's basically like a sort of a lower tier of the ceiling or whatever.
Okay.
But um, yeah, they were just basically playing vinyl in that room, and it sounded really good in there, and the bass was like really really good until they jacked it up to a certain point, and then when they jacked it to a certain point, beyond that point, the soffit started like resonating, like, and you heard it. It was funny because it was just like, oh, this is great, this is great, this is great. Walter goes up, turns up one more notch. It's like,
That's
okay, turn it
amazing.
down, turn it down, turn it down. So it was that was kind of funny, but no, it was a great sounding room. Again, another high dollar room and stuff, but just like really really pretty, really really pretty stuff.
At the Florida show, outside of all the manufacturers, do they have like any gimmicks? Like, do they have like a live singer or a banjo player or something like that?
Uh, at the Florida, actually, this year at the show they had actually the first day on was it Friday or Saturday? Okay, Friday, I think they brought in a group, a local school group of these violinists of kids, like a string
Mm,
group from a local school, and they were playing, with their teachers and stuff. They were playing like a little string concert for us. So in the lobby. So I think there was about maybe at least a dozen, possibly 20, you know, middle or high school age kids playing a little string thing on a little string concert for us, and
mm,
a bunch of us all gathered there. I mean, and we were watching. Everyone was taking pictures and stuff. It was very
yeah.
cool. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, concert wise, no, for this show they didn't really have it. They did have actually, and I didn't get a chance to check it out. They had uh, a bunch of cars outside. Like they had a local car audio club there. It had a
Oh,
bunch of
nice.
cars in the parking lot area, and you could go out there and listen to various like high end audio systems in cars. And it
That's
wasn't just
awesome.
like the heavy subwoofer stuff. It was actually some really nice sounding car audio systems that had been like really really tweaked and everything. And a lot of
Awesome.
people got a chance to go out and visit them and had a lot of good things to say about them. I didn't get a chance, unfortunately,
Mm.
but that was different. That was kind of cool. Um, and apparently, I'd heard from some of the audio brands like Geshelli and Chesky and stuff that
Mhm.
what was really neat was there was a lot more because of that car event that was going on. It brought in a lot of younger people into the general show itself. So there was actually a lot of it was actually one of the US shows I've been to where the crowd was not gray-haired folks like me. There was a lot of like younger there was a lot of younger kids there too, which and younger attendees too, which was great.
Mm.
So that was really cool to see that. So
Would you
it was
ever
neat.
like just for a minute?
No, are you kidding
No.
me? My dad did that a couple times, and I always made fun of him. No, 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 not doing that.
What
Not doing
about
that.
something crazy? Go like purple or green or
I leave that to my kid. I'm not doing. That's not me. That's no, 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 no. I will age gracefully. Thank you very
All right.
much. Thank you very much. Uh,
I got a
yeah.
gray shoulder hair the other day and it just bummed me out. I was like, what the just
Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, when you get, yeah. I think I remember my first gray beard hair, and it was like, oh my lord,
mine
this is
came
crazy.
out gray.
Mm-hmm.
Like I couldn't grow facial hair until
Mm-hmm.
like 29 and then it came
Oh
out
yeah,
and it was like, why is it really?
yeah.
Like it never came out in high school.
Same here. Same here. By the
Like the
time I
first
could,
person first person in school that got a beard was like a girl, Rajwant Man, and she was with Punjabi, and she like had facial hair, and I was jealous of her, and then
that's insulting.
no,
that's
it's,
just,
it's
that's
true.
insulting.
I,
Not to
I
her. I'm just saying. As a guy, it's kind of like the first a girl
yeah,
gets more facial hair than I do. Yeah. Okay. There you
yeah.
go.
And there was a lot of indie. Like I mean, I grew up in Brampton, Ontario, so
Hmm.
like for anyone watching, that's where Russell Peters was from.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of indie people in Brampton, and I just
Yeah.
didn't have any facial hair.
There were some Italian girls in Etobicoke who had more facial hair than I did. I mean, that's just the way it was.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? But
Yeah, but this came out gray, and I was like, this sucks. Just yeah.
I hear that.
I have 5 chest hairs, 4 of them are gray. It's like, come on, guys. Like,
things you always wanted to know about Taps were afraid to ask. Oh man. Oh yeah. SVS. They were also at the show, and they had their home theater set up with their big Ultra Evolution speakers, and yeah, great sounding setup. But yeah, they had a nice 2-channel system set up there too, with a nice little Heigl amp and their bookshelves and their tower versions of the Ultra Evolution, and yeah, really nice sounding there too.
How are Hegel amps? Are they?
I've never tried one, but from what I listened to at the show, I mean, they seem pretty nice and pretty solid. A lot of people just really rave about the quality of them. So
okay,
yeah.
Yeah, there's that brand, and then there's oh my god, it starts with an M. I think. M5I. What the heck is that brand called? Musical Fidelity.
Musical Fidelity. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's nice stuff too. Again, I've tried to get Hegel stuff in for review, but whenever I've asked, it's always been like, we don't our samples are out at the moment, and we can't schedule any more reviews and all that jazz. Like, all right, well, whatever. Someday we'll get something in from them, but yeah, that hasn't happened yet. Musical Fidelity, actually, that's distributed by Focal Name America, actually. So there might be a way to get some of that stuff by talking to Wendy.
I will send an email.
You can go ahead and do that. That could be interesting. It could be very interesting. Yeah. So no, that's always another interesting brand too, and they have some crazy integrateds and stuff that look pretty wild. So yeah, for sure.
They just look really slick, but also kind of industrial. So
yeah, the design on them is really cool. I gotta say, I've always liked their stuff. I guess you know what I'm thinking about it. One other speaker that I think is worth mentioning at the show, some company called Perfect 8, and their speakers are made out of glass. So the entire speaker cabinet is made out. They're active speakers. The entire speaker cabinet is made out of a special laminated glass. It's not tempered, but it's like thick glass, and they had these tower speakers there with the drivers on the front, and then like bass drivers on the sides. Again, active, really good sounding, really cool sounding, and just had some actually really kick-ass bass to them as well.
Cool.
I was really impressed, and just the imaging was really nice too. So something different. Again, not cheap, but
yeah,
it was they're definitely a conversation piece. So yeah, for sure.
Cool.
But overall, it was a really good show. There was a little bit of everything, and
and a bunch of your team went down too, right?
No, just me.
Was it just
me
you?
this one? Yeah, Expona is going to be like me, Robert, and Jim Clements are going to be going to Expona. So that's a huge show. So I can't cover that anymore by myself. That's just crazy. That's just like so. But I have to find a way to get you down for one of these shows to do some video stuff, because that would be good. That would be really good. So we'll have to see.
As long as it's not one of the sucky ones, I want to go to the good one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, and Munich. Oh, before that's gone. I want to go to that one.
Munich, yeah, that's going to be interesting, because this is going to be the last year it's going to be at Munich, because it's going to be going to Vienna actually in 2026. So which will be interesting.
Before to say the last hurrah.
The last hurrah.
They can't kick us out again out of Munich, so
again. Thankfully, they never have.
Yeah. So, no, but like just have one big last hurrah there.
That would be
and
fun.
Plus, I would like to see. Oh my god, I have to edit this out. From Fidelity, Jan from Fidelity.
Steve Jan, yeah.
I want to see Steve bug out about the car selection that's next door. But
Yeah, that would be something. That
yeah.
would be very something. I'll have to see. I'd love to make that happen, but I don't know. That's a budget thing. But
Hmm.
we'll talk. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that.
This
Right.
this all might be edited out.
It's all might be edited out. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I probably. You know what? I should mention one more thing. Metaxas and Sins. They had a. Have you seen any of their stuff?
Yes,
That's the
the booby amplifier.
the
Yeah.
booby amplifier. Yep,
Yeah.
yeah. They had a set of electrostatic speakers they just came out with
Hmm.
there at the show, and that sounded really nice. And they had them integrated with some SVS subs, but they had the crazy looking turntable called the perambulator that was there, and also they had their reel to reel deck, the tur- tourbillon.
Yeah, we saw that last time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And that was really cool too, and that was always fun. That's always a fun room
How
to visit.
how does his stuff sell? Like, is it do people buy it, or is
People
it?
buy it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's basically his stuff is basically kind of art that just happens to make music.
Yeah.
That's the way I categorize it, and it's very cool. It's very different, and yeah, he's got a market for it. He seems to be Costas seems to do pretty well with creating the stuff and you know making appealing, well, good performing and appealing stuff. So,
Hmm.
and it's different. There's not really a lot of stuff out there like, so he's kind of got his own little market.
Yeah.
So, which is
That's
kind of a
awesome.
nice, it's kind of a nice thing to see, like, someone who's an artist is actually able to make a living doing
Selling
something
his
this
art.
unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. So and
That's
he
kind of the
makes.
fun part about going to these shows is like you get to see stuff that
Hmm.
sometimes just out of your nature you'd be like, who's buying this? But then you
Right.
realize someone is,
Hmm.
and it kind of brings a smile to your face of like, oh yeah, there's a market for everything, you know?
There is, yeah, and I may have said this before, but it's always like for anyone who never says they can't find the right, um, speakers or the right amplifier or the right this or that. It's like no, you haven't looked hard enough. I mean, there is so much out there,
Mhm.
um, at all different price levels and all different styles, and then you have stuff like the Metaxa stuff, which is like a whole other niche market stuff.
Yeah.
There's something for everybody. You just and that's the fun thing about going to shows like this, because like you may not realize that until you go to one of these things and you see, holy smokes, and yeah, sure, not everyone can afford the stuff a lot of these big dollar rooms or whatever, but it's fun to see it nonetheless, because kind of like you discover it's there, and it's like and then you can judge for yourself whether you like the sound of it or not, or
Mhm.
there are aspects about it you like, you don't like, and and for not, if nothing else, it gives you a point of reference. Because if you
Mhm.
find something you like the way it sounds, and you can't afford it, you got to afford it. You got a point of reference. Like, okay, I like this. What can I find that I can afford that
Mhm.
gets me, somewhere near to this,
Yeah.
or whatever? Because you'd be surprised. There's a lot of great sounding. I mean, you wouldn't be surprised because I mean, you found it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great sounding stuff that doesn't break the bank,
Mhm.
and it's just a question of finding it, discovering it.
It's funny. I was thinking about this the other day, but I didn't quite know how to quantify it in words. Where, like, early on, before any of this, when I first discovered music that I liked, I was listening on the crappiest stereo,
Hmm.
and it didn't matter because I
Right.
was I found music that I liked, and I was just enthralled by that music.
Hmm.
And so you could really just, like, any system is good, just it's
Right.
all your point of reference. And
Exactly.
so once I find that, like, when people start to complain about audio, they've already hit a certain reference point of
Hmm.
they've improved their system, and then it's like now I'm just nitpicking.
Yeah.
But to everyone else, it's like you hear a song on the radio, you're just listening on whatever you have, and
Right.
it sounds great, you know?
Right. Because at that point, it's just about the music. Because
Yeah.
if it's and, and and whenever it's just about the music, I mean, I could listen to something on my mom's transistor radio, and if I like the music and it's just about the music, I'll enjoy it. Whatever,
Yeah.
it's fine. I'm hearing the music, I like it. You know, in our hobby, it's not just about the music. No matter what anyone says,
Mhm.
it's about the gear. 'Cause,
Yep.
that's a part of it as well. And it's
Yeah.
like yeah, it's like up to a point, you find the gear. You search to find the gear that does justice to the music you like
Mhm.
and brings it to you in a way that's kind of like you feel like you're getting the full impact of it.
Mhm.
And then after and that's great. And for a lot of people, that's enough.
Mhm.
For the more obsessive types, it's like that's not enough. There's other aspects that I would like. Oh, I want to add these cables to it because I like the way they look, and I think they'll do this or that.
Yeah.
I want this preamp because it'll do this, this, and this, and it looks really cool and stuff. Then you start getting into different sort of aspects of it. But
Mhm.
and that's a different mindset and just a different level of obsessiveness. So
Mhm.
you know, it's just and understanding and knowing what you want and finding the place where you're happy. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, yeah.
It's
So,
funny. I had someone comment on one of my videos of like I think I mentioned like associated equipment is
hmm
this turntable, this CD player, but I never actually you mentioned the CD player in use because I
hmm
never listen to CDs, right? And so this guy commented of just like, "Hey, I didn't see the CD player in your footage. Where is it?" I'm like, "Oh, it's down there." He's like, "I just see a wall of useless vinyl," and I was like what? He's just like, I was like, what do you mean useless vinyl? It's like it's what I like listening to. And he's like, well, you can't tell me it sounds better than CDs and blah, blah. And he went on this rant. I'm like, I think you're missing the point. Like,
yeah,
I don't care for CDs whatsoever. Like, I,
hmm
it's just not my bag. I'm
yeah.
not arguing that they
From
sound
a technical
better or worse.
standpoint,
Like,
yeah,
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 yeah, you can win that argument all day, but they're not useless. It's
right.
just what I like.
And yeah, it's about what I enjoy. This is not about what you enjoy. You may
Yeah.
enjoy something different. That's fine, but take a chill pill.
Yeah, I find that's my favorite thing. I started doing because when I first started doing reviews for you guys,
hmm
it's you have to, I started trying to factor in everybody
hmm
of like here's how this would appeal to everybody, but I
Yeah,
find that I just couldn't do it. And so now it's just this is
because it's
me
because it's
enjoying this
not
product.
it's not going to appeal to everybody, and that's the thing with what we do. It's kind of like, and at least it was the way when I was strictly when I was not doing this, and I was strictly a reader looking at reviews and stuff like that. But I would find that there was a select number of viewers that I would gravitate to because they what they listened to and how they described things was very similar to how I would describe things, or there was things about their reviews that I could relate to,
Yeah,
and that's what you're gonna, and that's what you do. You find reviewers that you know the reviewer all we can do is describe how something appeals to us and how we view something in our environment,
yeah,
and we try to you know put those caveats out there for people so that way they know.
mhm,
And it's up to the reader or the watcher to see to decide whether yes, Taps is like I like Taps's kind of music, or how Taps
yeah,
views this or describes this. The same thing. I mean, I can I'm on the same wavelength as he is.
mm,
Perfect. This is kind of, and that's how they develop a trust level with you because they relate to you,
yeah.
and that's
And
that's the best we can do.
yeah, and I found that's the best way going forward. So
Totally,
it's
totally,
like
yeah.
I'm gonna look at this from my completely biased perspective, and
hmm
if you're willing to go on the ride with me, then that's awesome. And if not, feel free to disagree. There's a million other versions of us out there, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you'll find your guy or your girl or
You,
whatever. Yeah,
the what we do the best review, or
we're entirely subjective.
we are entirely
Yeah,
subjective, and the best we can do is be genuine and honest with the readership and viewership.
hmm
You know, it's up to them to decide if they are like on the same wavelength we are. But as long as we do our bit and we're genuine, and we just call it as we see it, and we're upfront about it, that's all that matters. And then then it's just up to them. It's not good when I used to, and not to pick on Stereophile, but I would I would never I could never get into their reviews when I was getting into this before I started reviewing myself. As a reader, I could never get into it because growing up, it was like the writing was very flowery. It was almost like this giant sort of it's like a soliloquy, or it was like reading Shakespeare basically.
Mm,
And it's kind of like that doesn't appeal to me. It just does not. It's not me, and it just
mm,
sounded like stuff that I wasn't crazy about. There were a bunch of other like Audio Magazine when back in the day when it was around,
mm,
early Stereo Review. There used to be Sound Canada, which I think turned into Sound and Vision as a magazine before it went under.
mm,
Um, they had great writers, and it was very genuine. You know,
mm,
they made told you what they thought. You know, yeah, there were some measurements if you're interested in that, but basically just the way they wrote about what they heard and how they described it was like,
yeah.
I can relate to this. This is like, yeah, this is the real deal,
Mm,
and that's kind of what I hope in some small way that we do, like that all our writers do. And I like everyone's got their own personality, which is great, and it should
yeah.
come out in their writing. Um, no one wants to. We don't want to have a bunch like 20 reviewers that sound like the same thing.
Yeah.
That doesn't do anybody any good. You know, people we want 20 individual voices that are genuine, and then people can decide if it appeals to them, if it relates to them, and if it's what they want to consume.
Mm,
So that's kind of how I hope we do it. You know.
cool.
Yeah.
You know what we should do
What's
as
that?
other follow-ups of these is we should get some of our extended team onto one of these
Oh
shows,
yeah, totally,
and just pick their brain a little bit. We got some
totally.
diverse people, so
We do. We have a bunch of diverse people. Like we have some people that are like
and we could torment them on this.
we could torment them. We really could. I mean, we have guys who are like computer dudes. We have like I think we actually have some genuine rocket scientists.
Yeah.
In our thing. I mean, and yeah, we have a lot with
So
photographers, a lot of different guys. Yeah,
why
yeah,
don't we for the next couple of these, why don't we just sort of maybe ambush one or two of them of just like, hey, let's
yeah.
get and like no setup, just kind of like
Hmm.
we have our standard list of questions that we already like, and so we can
Yeah.
just
Let's go for it. I'm
and we
down with
can
that.
make them infinitely uncomfortable on camera for an hour. I think it'd be fun.
Ooh, little do they know what's coming. Yeah, no, that'd be great. I would love to do that. That'd be
We
fun.
could also probably torment JJ on one of these too.
We could torment JG on it, but then we that would be interesting. So I have a suspicion that there'll be a lot of editing, a lot of bleeping if we bring JG on some of these
It
things
might be
because
one just for the archive, but
you never know. I think Cynthia and Susan would probably want to have the director's cut choice on that. Knowing JJ, oh my god, that would be hysterical. Oh man, yeah. No,
all right,
we should definitely do it for sure, for sure.
cool. I think we're at an hour and a half,
Yep.
so I think we're good.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
thanks to everyone that tuned in, or all six of you that tuned in for this one.
Well, six and a
And
half, 6.5 of you that tuned in.
I really only do this to talk to you. That's so.
Vice versa. This is great. I love hanging with you and talking this stuff, and just it's nice. I wish we could see each other in person more often. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
up. I'm gonna be coming up to Toronto in June,
Oh, okay.
so we should definitely get together and hang
I
a
can
little bit.
get you into my closet of a condo. We can record live.
That would be cool. I would
Yeah.
like that. That'd be the Toronto tapes or the Oakville tapes or whatever.
Yeah. You can set up my extremely low couches.
As long as they can take the weight of a husky individual, I'm good. I'm all good.
Yeah.
So,
They take kids jumping on them, so you're all good.
oh, that's fine.
Anyway,
All
this is
right.
Sorta Hi-Fi. This is Carlo Lorazzo. I'm Taps. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for joining, folks. Take care. Till next time.